sometimes my petty intrusive thoughts take over and I want to make content that is probably not to our benefit. Like, man, I really just want to just make a whole video about how ranch is not free. Ranch ain't free. People only ask for ranch after they pay and they're about to walk out the door and then they're like, oh yeah, can I get some ranch? Like, you didn't know you wanted ranch when you ordered that pizza. And we always just give it to them, but it's like, I'm just handing you $1. Our ranch is $1. And I just hand it to you every time. Like, that frustrates me. What's going on, Pizza Fam? Look, I appreciate each one of you for listening to this show, listening to this episode. Before we get back to it, I wanted to tell you about my favorite product right now, Todd's Curry Sauce. I met these guys at the Florida Restaurant Show, Pizza Tomorrow Summit, and I'm telling you, ever since I tried that sauce, I have been putting it on everything in the shop. Chicken wings, pizza, you've seen the pizzas, chicken sandwich, salad dressing. Like, we've been putting Todd's curry sauce on everything, and I'm here to give you a special deal, special offer. Go to their website, toddscurrySauce.com, use code Pizza King, and get 10% off your next order. I promise you, you only need to try it one time. It's going to be the best curry sauce you ever tasted in your life. You're going to start putting it on all kinds of stuff in your shop, even at home. I got a bottle in the pantry here at the house. I got a bottle at the shop. Elliot, Todd, I need another bottle because I'm putting it everywhere. I'm putting it on everything. So go check it out. Use code Pizza King and get 10% off your next order. Peace. Let's get back to it. What's going on, Pizza Fam? We're back, another episode of the Pizza King podcast. I'm your host, Tyrell Reed. Always happy to be with you. Always a pleasure for me. And we'll jump right into it this week. Got a good topic that I really wanted to cover just based on some of the questions that I've been getting. And first of all, shout out to everybody who reaches out to me and sends questions on Instagram, sends questions on Facebook, or even, comments on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go check us out, Pizza King Podcast, over there, as we're still trying to continue to grow that community on the YouTube side, one step closer to that monetization, right? Because that's what we're working towards, right? Building a business and, using our expertise to continue to help the community. So today, I really wanted to talk about something that is actually part of the idea to Open Guide, but a lot of the questions that I get are around, what it's like to, really start it up, what startup costs look like, how do I find a location, how do I know if it's going to be profitable. So I really wanted to dig in on what that process looks like for me. I'm gonna break down just some simple things that we like to do and that we work through whenever we're looking at securing a location, running a break-even analysis, and, how we negotiate some of those terms and all of those different things that go into, really the upfront work to ensure profitability on the back end. Believe it or not, a lot of the work that you do before you ever make a pizza will determine, your opportunity for profit once you do start selling pies and get open for business. So those steps are critical and absolutely important. And if you haven't been through it, or if you don't know what you're doing, it could actually cost you a lot of money too if not done correctly. So I felt it was a good topic to bring to the podcast today. So we're going straight on startup cost, location selection, and lease negotiations, and and then breaking down some of the compliance and permitting that happens as part of that process, because those are costs that people don't generally think about. Well, that there's always going to be cost there, but you don't know the extent of that if you haven't really gone through it. You know what I mean? So that's what we got today. I got a good story before we even get into it. We haven't done Restaurant Chronicles in a few weeks, and I had a good one. Not a good one. It was customers. I love all of our customers, right? Obviously, we need that business, and we need our customers and our regulars to come in to keep our business thriving, right? So we appreciate each one of those, and even when they give us things to laugh about. And we had one to laugh about the other day in the store. We had a customer call. Actually, the way that it started for me was I'm in the back in the kitchen, and Maya, our cashier, comes back and she goes, "Hey, this guy wants to wants to talk to you or wants to talk to somebody. He's upset about his pizza. He had a meat lover's pizza with mild wing sauce base on it. She goes, but I know that I'm not wrong because I talked to him about it and he wanted to know what kind of spicy sauce options we had to put on there. And he ordered a buffalo chicken pizza with mild, and then he also wanted mild sauce base for his meat lover's pizza. But now he's saying, why is there mild sauce on my pizza? And so I'm like, just tell him, look, we'll make another one. Just come back. We'll make him another pie. Remake the pizza. Guy comes in. I'm like, hey, how can I help you? He goes, well, I got to pick up. He goes, actually, I got, a remake. I go, oh, okay, yeah, I got that here. I go, what happened? Did you bring the other pizza back? He goes, oh, no, my wife tasted it. She didn't like it, so she just threw it away. Fine, large pizza, just threw that in the trash. I said, that's fine, but I was like, but you do know that you ordered it with mild sauce on it, right? He goes, yeah, that was a misunderstanding. I was thinking mild sauce meant pizza sauce. Really? You did? Because you also ordered a buffalo chicken pizza with mild sauce, and I'm pretty sure you knew that wasn't going to be pizza sauce. So I'm like, all right, bro. Well, he goes, oh yeah, I'm sorry. That was just a misunderstanding. I was just assuming that when we were talking about mild sauce, that we were talking about pizza sauce. So I'm like, all right, well, either way, here you go. Here's your pie. Sorry for the inconvenience, even though it was your fault. Obviously, I didn't say that to him, but it's like, come on, man. Like, every time there's a mistake, we have to pay for that. And we're always more than happy to own up on our mistakes and pay for the things that we do wrong in, the order process. But like, where does the responsibility lie when you that you ordered something, you didn't like it, and now you want to change it, or you want to bring it back? Like, would I have been wrong if I had just rang him up for another pizza? Because that's, it's like, in your mind, that's what you want to do. And obviously I just gave it to him. But like, come on, dude, that was a misunderstanding. You thought mild sauce was pizza sauce. Where did you, and so what did you think you were getting on the buffalo chicken? Pizza sauce? Or did you think it was mild wings? I'll let y'all decide on that one. Hit me up about that one, because those are the ones that it's like a little frustrating. As always, we always look out for our customers, our guests. And, we remake it. We always take care of them no matter what. But it's always like, you gotta swallow your pride a little bit on some of those. And that was one of them where it's like, dude, I know that wasn't a mistake. I know that wasn't a misunderstanding, because 100 times out of 100, if somebody says we got mild, medium, or hot, I'm pretty sure they're talking about wing sauce. So I don't know. It actually happened a couple of times that week where, people had gotten wing sauce as a base and didn't actually want that. So I had to go back and like make sure like the steps are ordered correctly on our online system, like making sure that, it's choose a size, choose a base, choose your topping. For some reason, man, we had a few people that ordered wing sauce. So we made sure we changed it to say buffalo sauce instead of just mild sauce, and medium buffalo sauce, so that we avoid any confusion, or try to avoid any confusion on that. And those are some of the adjustments that you got to make. So the fact that it happened a couple of times and we had a few remakes, we knew that there had to be some type of opportunity in our process. So we just went back, took a look at it, and it was actually Alan like, why don't you just change it to say buffalo sauce or say wing sauce, so that so people aren't getting confused, even though I was never confused. But I don't order, I'm not a customer. Maybe it is confusing. So we just had to address that. There's things like, I'm sure stuff like that happens in all of your restaurants, but how do you handle those? How do you handle those situations? And then, what adjustments do you make to correct it, so to ensure that it doesn't happen again? One of the things I really want to work on this year, and I told Jay, like, and sometimes my petty intrusive thoughts take over, and I want to make content that is probably not to our benefit. Like, man, I really just want to just make a whole video about how ranch is not free. Ranch ain't free. People only ask for ranch after they pay and they're about to walk out the door, and then they're like, oh yeah, can I get some ranch? Like, you didn't know you wanted ranch when you ordered that pizza? And we always just give it to them, but it's like, I'm just handing you $1. Our ranch is $1. And I just hand it to you every time. Like, That frustrates me. Even though the dollar is, you saw it's just a dollar, it's just a dollar. But it happens every day, all day, every day. And like, what are we supposed to do there? And, it seems petty if you go, all right, well, let me ring you up. That's going to be 106. And, you want to swipe your card for another dollar, or am I just going to give it to you? Even the whole process of taking the time to do that. Like, we got other things going on, other customers waiting, phones on hold. Are we going to really stop and do that? But I think what the adjustment will be on our end is we'll just put a simple sign up close to the point of sale that just not saying, hey, you're not about to get ranch for free, but it'll just say something like, hey, add a dipping sauce, ranch, blue cheese, whatever, add a dipping sauce for 99 cents. That way, you're going to see it because it's going to be right near where you pay. And if you want it, then you're going to have to make that decision. Like, are you going to ask for something free, or are you going to say, hey, let me add that on? So I think that's the adjustment that we're going to make, and we'll see how that works out. But I'm just tired of giving it away. If I'm just being honest with you, I'm tired of giving it away because we pay for it. And what the hell are we in business for? But on to the topic, understanding the startup costs. And look, I mean, all of this is about cost, right? When it comes down to it, even when we're talking about remaking food or giving away ranch, all of it comes down to cost. And, how we get to point where we're running a business that is profitable and valuable. We're creating something for the community, something for our team and for our staff, and it needs to be successful in order for there to be longevity. So, and then when you're opening a new store, understanding those startup costs is going to play a huge factor into how long you're able to do it. And if you have already gotten your idea to open startup guide that we put together last year, then you probably read through some of these things that I'm going to go through today. But if you haven't, this is just a good chance to get a quick preview into the kind of the content that's in the book. And if you need the book, you can always go to TyrellReed.com, look at the shop. Books available for download all day, every day. If you ever get to that point where you want to dig in on it. But if you're in it and you get to chapter 3 and it says understanding startup costs, and I'm just going to pull it up here just so I can use it as a reference, but understanding the startup costs for pizzeria. And obviously this can be relatable to any business. And shout out to all of the folks who are not pizza people, who still download the checklist and who still buy the book, because there are some things that are relevant to just about any restaurant business when you're talking about those early initial stages, right? Really up until you get to the point where you're talking about menu planning and things like that. Most of these things are pretty much universal. But understanding the startup cost is a crucial factor. And, there's a wide gap when it comes to starting a restaurant business or starting a pizzeria, especially based on my advice. And, I'll tell you right from the jump, my advice is always to go, when we look for it, let me back up. Not my advice, but I'll just tell you how we look at situations when we're talking about new units or, expanding or growing. Our first choice and our first option is always going to be to look for second gen. If it was an old pizza shop or an old Chinese restaurant or something that has a grease hood or a pizza hood and a bathroom and gas lines already run, that saves us so much money, especially, I mean, in today's world where costs are just going up all over the place, and construction is getting even more expensive. And honestly, the quality of work has not kept up with the cost. Like the rising cost, you would think that as these costs continue to go up, that the quality improves. No, the quality of work is not getting better. The quality of work is actually getting a little bit shittier and costing more money. So we look for second gen because it saves us a ton of money. So on the low end, it says, look, the average opening cost of a pizza shop can vary significantly depending on factors such as location, unit size, equipment needs, and menu offerings. So, and what I mean by that is, look, if you're offering fried foods, then you're going to make sure you have a grease hood. If you're going to have if you're doing, if you need a grill, you're going to do burgers or cheesesteaks or something like that, you're going to make sure you need a long enough run to fit your fryers, your grease, your grill all under the hood. If you're only doing pizzas, you don't need a grease hood. You just need a vent hood. That those costs change significantly. So it all varies. If you're going to do, 4,000 square feet and have, 150 seats and a bar, that's going to cost you a whole lot more than something that's 1,100 square feet and just a delivery takeout situation with a couple of tables and a single bathroom. So there's so many factors that go into, just into cost, and so your planning phase is so important. When you're talking about building out your brand, building out your model and your business plan, all of those things start to cost. And we always say, look, every word you say is going to cost you money. So when you start talking about the decor, you start talking about how you want to do the floors, and you start talking about how many stalls you want in the bathroom and all these different things, like it all costs money. So you need to make sure that, as you're speaking these things and including them in your plan, that you're also including the cost, or you're budgeting for the cost of these things. Low end, always say, low end from 50 grand, and that's going to 1000% be like a second chance situation that probably already has equipment. You need to add a mixer, or you need to add an oven or something simple, all the way up to, $500,000 or more. Obviously we've seen stores that have even crested that, that million and a half mark when you're talking about getting into these full service situations. So that's a wide gap, 50,000 to 500,000 plus. And, all of the things that are factored into that are, from lease or property purchase, deposits, things like that, renovations and construction. Build out costs is usually going to be the build out costs, and equipment costs are going to be your number one and number two, and it could be interchangeable just depending on the nature of your build out. Equipment and furnitures, FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. What kind of equipment are you going to need? What kind of furniture are you looking for? What kind of fixtures are already there? What kind of fixtures need to be put in place? Permits and licensing is an expense. If you're in a situation where you might have to pay huge impact fees. I remember a situation in Orlando where we were doing a taco shop and got hit with impact fees from the city that were over $50,000. All of these things. Do you have enough parking spaces? All of these things start to matter, right? Initial inventory. There's a cost for that. A lot of your early inventory is going to be stuff that's just for training. It's going to be given away or thrown away. You need to budget for that. Labor costs, initial training and labor costs is huge. It's huge, and you don't think about it. So marketing and advertising. How much marketing are you going to do before you even open? How much marketing is it going to take to really get it off the ground and get your stuff going? Working capital, and making sure that you give yourself enough runway to really build a business behind. So coming in at zero is gonna get you out of business real quick. It's gonna get you out of business real quick. So you need to make sure that you plan and budget for all of these things, and they can all vary significantly just depending on the nature of your operation. So if you have a staff of, if you need a staff of, 5, that's going to be, very favorable versus, a place that has 100 seats and needs to hire, 40 people, train 5 managers, and, have a ton of equipment in it. That's going to cost you a whole lot more than doing something, going from, pop-up food truck to, delivery carry out location. So making sure that you understand and budget for all of these things. And there are guides here to help you plan for that if you ever, you want to get into the guide and download that. The important factor is you create that plan and you understand your startup costs, because the next phase is going for financing. And in order to get yourself in a favorable position with a bank or a lender, you really need to make sure that you detail all of the potential costs and all of those things, and budget for a little bit more. Always say, look, you're gonna need to budget. Projects are always gonna go over budget and over time, so you need to plan for both. You need to add, probably 30 to 50% to your budget, and you need to plan, 30 to 50% longer on timeline, just because that's just how it goes. And if you don't believe me, go open it and then come back and tell me how it went. The unicorns get it done early and under budget. That's the real shit. But financing options, for getting into these things, and this, it goes into the next chapter of the book. Once you have a clear understanding of your startup costs, you can start to explore finance options. And whether you're going to use your personal savings, or you're going to go for a bank loan, there's SBA loans. You can bring on investors in venture capital situations. Crowdfunding has been popular lately. Just making sure that you understand that people need to get paid back. But my advice is, as you're preparing and exploring your options, what you need to understand is what your business is going to look like when you open, having clear projection, having done a break-even analysis, standing the market, understanding your marketing plan is going to help you. It's going to help you secure the funds, because what's most important when you're going for a funding situation or, looking to take out a loan is your ability to pay those back, or, excuse me, pay your investors, pay your loan off, pay yourself back from your savings or your 401k or whatever you did to finance this venture. You need to make sure that there's return on investment, right? So that's going to come from running a profitable business. And that is going to come from doing your homework and your research on the front end, right? So that your pricing is right, so that you choose the right location and it's got enough traffic, and that you hire the right amount of people and you get a manager hired at the right salary. So it's not going to cost you down the road. All of these things start to matter. The other part of it that I wanted to touch on today is, how do you find the right location? And to be honest with you, it's like the needle in the haystack. There's always a ton of real estate available. And if you ever get on LoopNet or Realtor or something like that, and you're looking at all these properties that are available, you want to make sure that you're running the numbers on it to ensure that what you're going to do is actually going to work out in that situation. So one of the tools that we use is the break-even tool. So it's like my favorite tool, my favorite spreadsheet, because it lets us quickly see if this is something that's going to work out for us. So we know from no experience in having other locations what our average operating expenses are going to look like. When you're talking about cost of labor, cost of food, fixed expenses like taxes, accounting, even some of the variable operating expenses like, linen services and cleaning fees and credit card fees and things like that. We already have guidelines for what those expenses are going to look like. So when we're looking at a new location or a potential location, we're always going to all we need to know is price per square foot and square footage, so that we can back into a rent. Or if there's a rent number, we just need to know rent cam, and we can quickly decide if that's something that's going to work for us. We know our average unit volume. We know what our expectations is. We always lowball the volume, because you just never know. So if our low end volume can get us to break even or better, then we know that we're in a situation. Now, obviously, it doesn't always start that way, because we're always gonna start heavy on the spend, because marketing expenses are a little bit more in the beginning. Labor costs are higher because there's a lot of training initially on startup, and then inventory is, we're going to run a high inventory. So you're not going to start out in the green or in the black, but you have a path. If you get your operations to where it needs to be, and you can reach your sales, and you can get your sales ramped up quickly or in short order. So I'm always gonna run stuff through the tool, and I keep the tool open. Like, it's probably the most used application on my laptop is that break-even tool, because that's going to give us that picture into, all right, at this rent, we're going to need to do $9,500 a week to break even. All right, can we do $9,500 out of this location? What's the traffic count look like? Who are the neighbors? What's the competition look like? And we'll send it to our guy that helps us run our demographics, our market analysis. I don't remember the name of the tool he used, like IntelliView or something like that, but whatever it is. So we'll send him the address, and he'll pull it. He'll give us traffic counts. He'll give us daytime counts. He'll give us competitors in the market in the 4 or 5 mile radius. How many Papa John's are there? How many Marcos? How many Domino's in the market? And that helps us decide if this is going to be a location that is going to work out for us. So we always run market research. We always run it through the break-even tool. And if it's too far off, or if the rent's just, not realistic, then we know we can just move on from that. But if it's something like, all right, well, this rent is favorable, we know we can do sales here, or maybe, there's a lot of room to grow when it comes to sales. Like, if we can figure out a way to make it work, then we'll take a chance on something like that. So I definitely recommend having a tool like this available to you, so that you can quickly assess these deals, because speed is also a factor too, and especially in a competitive market. If something's low rent and has equipment, and there's a there's a, it's in a high traffic area, or, in a good center, a power center, got a great anchor or something like that. Listen, it ain't going to be there long. So, always make sure that you're ready to make decisions quick on that, but don't rush. Do your homework, do your research. Don't rush on those decisions. And then it, if you decide that you like it and it's a good situation, and now it's time to start negotiating. And that also plays a part into how profitable you can be too. So, everything can be negotiated when it comes to leasing commercial space. Everything from, rent, lease term, tenant improvement, free rent months, things like that. You can negotiate everything. And my advice is, look, if you don't ask, you don't get. The worst thing they can say is no. And, oftentimes, and here's the other side, if there's something that has been sitting, that's more leverage for you. That's some more negotiating power. So, don't just take the terms as they are. Negotiate the hell out of it. Negotiate the hell out of it, because, getting $100,000 in tenant improvement money or $150,000 in TI, that changes your first year significantly, right? That gives you a whole lot more runway, and maybe you don't have to borrow as much money, or you can pay off your debts a whole lot quicker if you can get TI. So, like, making sure that you negotiate every single thing that you can right from the beginning, and if you don't ask, you don't get. Be unreasonable. Ask for more and see what happens, because the worst thing that can happen is they say no. Well, best of luck to all of my operators out there. If you've got questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm always available. You can get the new store checklist. Go to TyrellReed.com, go.TyrellReed.com/free. Get you the new store checklist. TyrellReed.com. You can get this idea to open guide. It's available. It's like $27 for this guide. I just gave you thousands of dollars worth of game just right here, right now. So just understand that I'll tell you right now, and we just covered 1 chapter, 2 chapters, but there are 10 chapters of resources and information on opening a new restaurant. So definitely worth the $27. So if you want that, there's a link. I'll put a link in the show notes to it directly, so you can access that. But listen, I'm here to help you on your journey through this podcast. Reach out to me on any of my social channels. Email me, info@tyrellreed.com. Best of luck to you on your journey. That's all we got for today, Pizza King Podcast. Hey, we're going to see you next week. We got guests coming up. I got 4 guests lined up for February. So listen, it's going to be jam-packed next month. So be prepared to learn a lot and get a lot of value.